Imagine paying for a service that openly disrespects your values, promotes content you'd never want your kids or grandkids to see, and when a show got cancelled a while ago for that very reason, Netflix decided to double down and re-promote it again. Because of this, people across America are pulling the plug, tens of thousands, canceling, making their voices heard. And yes, even for me it was enough. So why did I cancel my Netflix subscription? In today's video, I'll be explaining why, what we're dealing with, and why this is much bigger than just TV shows. Now, you might be thinking, what could possibly make so many people abandon a streaming service they've had for years? Well, it started with something that seemed small at first, a kids show. Netflix decided to re-promote an animated series called Dead End Paranormal Park. On the surface, it's marketed as a quirky adventure for children. But dig a little deeper, and parents started noticing something troubling. The show features storylines and messaging about gender identity and transgender themes, aimed squarely at young viewers, some as young as 7 years old. Think about that for a moment. 7-year-olds, kids who still believe in the tooth fairy, who ask you to read them bedtime stories, who trust the world to be safe and simple. And here's a platform, one that millions of families rely on, slipping content into the mix that many parents never signed up for. I'm not here to tell anyone how to raise their kids or grandkids, but I know this. Most folks my age, and probably yours too, believe children should be children. They should be learning about kindness, honesty, courage, not being pushed into complex identity debates before they can even tie their shoes. Now, that alone caused concern. Parents started speaking up, questioning why this content was being featured so prominently in the kids section. But then, something else happened, something that turned concern into outrage. The creator of this show, a person Netflix chose to work with and promote, made some pretty shocking public statements. After the tragic event, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, this creator took to social media, and instead of expressing sorrow or respect, he posted inflammatory comments. He called Kirk offensive names, suggested he deserved what happened, and framed the whole tragedy as something almost deserved. Let that sink in. A person who makes content for children, celebrating violence against someone simply because of their political views. It doesn't matter if you agreed with Charlie Kirk or not. What matters is basic decency. What matters is that someone in a position to influence young minds thought it was acceptable to mock a man's death. And Netflix? They stayed silent. No apology, no distancing, nothing. That's when people started asking themselves a tough question. Why am I giving my money to a company that employs someone like this? And you know what? They didn't just ask, they acted. Social media lit up with screenshots of cancellation confirmations. Regular folks, grandparents, parents, people who'd been Netflix subscribers for many years, posting proof that they'd had enough. One after another, the posts rolled in. Just canceled. Done with Netflix. They won't get another dime from me. And it wasn't just everyday people. Some pretty high-profile voices joined in too. When someone with tens of millions of followers says, "Same, I canceled," that sends a message. It tells Netflix and every other company out there that actions have consequences, that you can't just ignore your customers' values and expect them to keep paying you month after month. But here's the thing. This wasn't really about one show or even one creator's bad behavior. It was the final straw. For years now, a lot of us have watched Hollywood and the big streaming platforms push content that feels more like propaganda than entertainment. It's exhausting, isn't it? You sit down to watch a movie or a series, hoping for a good story, and instead you get lectured. You get characters and plot lines that feel like they're designed to push a specific agenda rather than just tell a compelling tale. I've heard from so many people, folks who remember when movies were about heroes and villains, love and adventure, right and wrong. Not every story had to carry a political message. Not every kids' show had to be a vehicle for adult debates. Entertainment was supposed to be an escape, a way to relax and recharge. But somewhere along the way, it became a battlefield. And a lot of us are just tired of fighting every time we turn on the TV. Now, let's talk about the kids for a minute. Because if you're like me, you probably spend a fair amount of time with them. Maybe you watch them after school, or you have them over on weekends, and you want to make sure they're safe, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally too. You want them growing up with strong values, clear thinking, and a sense of right and wrong. And that means being careful about what they're exposed to. Here's the uncomfortable truth. What children watch shapes how they see the world. The stories they consume, the characters they admire, the messages they absorb, all of it matters. And when a platform like Netflix, which so many families trust, starts slipping in content that contradicts the values you're trying to teach, it creates a problem. Suddenly, you're not just competing with peer pressure or schoolyard gossip. You're competing with a billion-dollar entertainment machine that has a different set of priorities. And you know what the hardest part is? A lot of parents and grandparents didn't even realize it was happening. They trusted Netflix. They thought, it's in the kids section, so it must be okay. But that trust was misplaced. And once people realized it, they felt betrayed. Because trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. So when tens of thousands of people decide to cancel their subscriptions, they aren't just reacting to one incident, they are drawing a line in the sand. They are saying, if you won't respect us, we'll stop funding you. And that's exactly how it should work, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, Netflix doesn't have any power without our monthly payments. Every subscription is a vote of confidence. And when that confidence disappears, so should the money. Let me put it in perspective. If just 50,000 people cancel their Netflix subscriptions, and we're likely talking about many more than that, we're looking at somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million in lost monthly revenue. Multiply that over a year, and you're talking about real financial pain. Suddenly, those executives have to answer to shareholders. They have to explain why subscriber numbers are dropping. They have to justify their choices. And that's when change starts to happen, not because companies suddenly develop a conscience, but because their bottom line demands it. Now, some people might say, well, canceling Netflix isn't going to change anything. They're too big. They'll be fine. But that's not how markets work. Every major company that's ever failed thought they were too big to fall. They thought customer loyalty was guaranteed. But loyalty is earned, not owed. And when you take your customers for granted, when you disrespect their values and ignore their concerns, eventually they walk away. It might take time, but it happens. We've seen it before, and we'll see it again. And here's something else worth thinking about. This is a perfect opportunity to look at all those automatic charges hitting your credit card every month. How many subscriptions are you paying for that you barely use? Streaming services, apps, memberships you signed up for years ago and forgot about? I'd bet most of us have at least a few $dozen a month going out the door for things we don't really need or want anymore. Maybe it's time to do some house cleaning. Cancel what doesn't serve you. Keep what does. Your bank account will thank you, and you'll feel a lot better knowing your money is going where it actually matters to you. But let's zoom out for a second, because this Netflix situation is really about something bigger. It's about consumer power. See, companies only get away with bad behavior when we let them. When we keep paying, keep watching, keep supporting them, even when they do things we disagree with. But the moment we stop, the moment we say no more, things change. And not just for that one company, for the whole industry. When Netflix loses subscribers over content decisions, every other streaming platform is watching. They're taking notes. They're realizing that maybe, just maybe, they need to think twice before pushing the envelope too far. Think about it like this. You're not just one person with one subscription. You're part of a community, millions of people, who share similar values and concerns. And when that community moves together, when it speaks with one voice by closing their wallets, corporations listen. It's one of the few forms of real power we have left in this world. We can't control what Hollywood produces, but we can control whether we pay for it, and that matters more than you might think. So what should Netflix learn from all this? Well, for starters, they need to remember who their audience is. It's not just coastal elites or activists with an agenda. It's families. It's grandparents. It's people from all walks of life who just want good entertainment that doesn't insult their intelligence or their values. If Netflix wants to produce edgy, controversial content for adults, fine, put it in the adult section with proper warnings. But keep the kids' content clean, wholesome, and appropriate. Is that really too much to ask? And maybe, just maybe, they should think twice about who they partner with. If someone is out there celebrating violence, mocking tragedy, and spewing hatred, perhaps that's not the best person to create content for children. Character matters, judgment matters. And if Netflix can't figure that out, well, then maybe they deserve every cancellation they get. Companies like Netflix also need to understand that silence is a choice. When one of your creators says something horrific and you say nothing, you're implicitly endorsing it. You're telling your customers that you don't care enough to stand up for basic decency. And that's a message people won't forget. So, why did I personally cancel my subscription today? Because I realized I was funding something that didn't align with who I am or what I believe in. I was paying for content I didn't want my kids exposed to. I was supporting a company that stayed silent when one of their creators celebrated a man's death. And I thought to myself, why am I doing this? There's no shortage of entertainment options out there. I don't need Netflix. But Netflix needs customers like me. And if they want me back, they're going to have to earn it. This wasn't about saving a few dollars a month. It was about taking a stand. It was about saying, I have standards, and I'm not going to compromise them just for convenience. And you know what? It felt good. It felt like I was doing something, however small, to push back against a culture that too often feels like it's spinning out of control. Canceling Netflix wasn't about losing a TV show. It was about gaining back a little dignity, standing up for the next generation, and reminding corporations that values matter. If enough people speak with their wallets, companies will listen. Now, I want to hear from you. Are you planning to cancel your subscription, or do you think the responsibility lies with us and not Netflix? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think, because this is a conversation worth having. And if you found this breakdown helpful, do me a favor. Hit like, subscribe, and share this with a friend. And let's keep talking about what really matters.